President-elect, dear Ambassador Bogar, dear colleagues, ministers, excellencies, representatives of the civil society, dear all, good morning and warm welcome to our traditional EU breakfast organized each year to mark and celebrate 9th of May, Europe Day, the anniversary of the Schuman Declaration, when the great story about European Union began. As French Foreign Minister Robert Schuman on 9th of May 1950 stated, and I quote, "Europe will not be made all at once or according to a single plan. It will be built through concrete achievements which first create a de facto solidarity," unquote. Past decades confirm that he was right and still is. I truly believe that the European Union is the best that has happened on the globe since World War II. Europe, the most neuralgic place on the planet for centuries, has been transformed into the most stable, prosperous, and safer place to work and live. Its magnetic soft power exercised through the policy of enlargement, lost to these days, and in my view will stay to dominate in the coming decades, but in the rapidly changing world, not without being constantly checked and challenged. And challenges are many. Elections for the new European Parliament coming just in a few weeks have never been so unpredictable and divisive. Appointment of the entirely new set of leaders in all EU institutional structures. Brexit, of course, will have inevitable large impact on all of us. Negotiations on the new financial perspective without net contributor UK will be also tough. New forms of interference using cyberspace, hybrid threats, outside geopolitical interference in Western Balkans region that may challenge the balance of power, bearing in mind more complex relations between Euro-Atlantic partners. We live in a global world in which boundaries of geopolitics and global interests are blurring between national, regional, and global levels. In contemporary modern digital democratic societies, one cannot afford geopolitical free space, simply because global powers with their gravity and intercontinental forces have tendency to almost naturally fill the free space. But no matter of the type, size and wideness of the crisis, European Union and its member states during the decades of its existence were always finding a way to consolidate and absorb the impact of the crisis. And as Jean Monnet once said, people only accept change in necessity and see necessity only in crisis. Today, symbolically, on 9th May, another very important EU leaders meeting is happening in Sibiu under the Romanian presidency to talk and agree about EU strategic agenda for 2019-2024. The title of the European Commission contribution paper, Preparing for a More United, Stronger and More Democratic Union in an Increasingly Uncertain World, speaks for itself. And we all hope for wise decision today and clear directions for the future leaders of the EU institutions. And as President Juncker recently said, we must now look forward, learning from our experiences and building on our successes. Allow me now for a moment to reflect on home. As a part of the stabilization and association process for almost 20 years, integral part of the enlargement policy as a candidate country for almost 15 years, having 9 consecutive recommendations from the Commission to start accession negotiations, and possibility to officially launch this process in June this year, North Macedonia strictly follows and is adjusting its national policies and legal system to that of the Union. Just about 21 months ago, only few believed that this government can deliver what seemed to be impossible for almost 3 decades, and that is to close open bilateral issues with Bulgaria and Greece, to address internally sensitive issue by adopting the law on the use of languages, and to manage to stay focused on the reform path in the key priority areas. Success belongs to all of our citizens. We just had clear, democratic, successful presidential elections with joint consensual candidate Stevo Pendarovski, and my congratulations to the new president-elect, but also to all citizens of North Macedonia, to the institutions, and to the opposition as well. Today I can say that we delivered on all our promises. There were many highly emotional and difficult decisions to take. It was not easy, neither everyone was equally satisfied. But it couldn't have been done differently, nor we could afford to wait another decade and to lose another generation. That decision to compromise has paved the way towards our long-awaited NATO membership. The signing of NATO protocol and accession to NATO is a huge historic achievement. It's our generational choice. We believe that NATO membership is not important just for North Macedonia, but also for strengthening the security and stability of the Southeast Europe and the European Union itself. Achieving one of the strategic goals since the independence of the country gives us even more stimulus to accelerate the pace of the reforms and double our efforts for our most important strategic goal, and that is EU membership. Accession perspective for the Western Balkan countries is clearly a geostrategic investment in a stronger united Europe based on common values and a powerful tool to promote democracy, the rule of law, and the respect for fundamental rights. The challenge now is how to move forward in the times of new economic, technological, demographic, and security challenges, in changing political context, and how to speed up the EU enlargement and the integration of the Western Balkans to provide sustainable peace and prosperity in this region through creative mechanisms that keep the credibility of the integration process. And credibility of the integration depends on the deliverables and the speed of the process. The potential costs for leaving us out are much higher than the cost of having us in. Additional efforts from all sides are required to complete successfully the process of integration, the mission that still needs to be completed. After almost 28 years of independence, the fulfillment of strategic goals is finally feasible. We will proceed with the reforms in key areas. No excuses from our side. This is our life chance that we cannot afford to miss. Political leaders and politicians, administration, civil society, academicians should work together to achieve our generational goals. Our expectations are clear and we believe deserved and achievable. We have moved forward with big steps towards the Union, and we expect now the Union will come closer to us with its decision to open accession negotiations in June this year. We are ready and we can do it, and we hope that EU is ready and can do it too. Therefore, we are hoping for more united Union with strengthened consensus around key priorities and challenges, and a Union with deepened cohesion where enlargement will not be considered as a threat, but as an opportunity for all. We want to see Europe protective, competitive, fair, sustainable, and influential. We want to join stronger and reformed European Union. Said that, let me close with the words of a wise man, Konrad Adenauer, who said, "Experiences are the seeds out of which wisdom grows." Let's learn from the experiences from the past, and let's try to take wise decisions for the benefits of the future generation. Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Ambassador Zbogar for his remark, and then President-elect as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Dear friends, Your Excellencies, I would say, dear Europeans, it was not scheduled for me to address this important gathering, because the official procedure is still not over. But anyhow, I was really glad to receive an invitation to be here with you in this important period of time for our country and for the Europe as a whole. As you know, we have just been through one very important electoral process, and that election process was not important because of my victory, but mostly because of the clear and transparent democratic process we have been through, which has only contributed to the whole portfolio, to the whole file the Republic of North Macedonia has to offer to the European Union ahead of this very important EU summit in June or July. Then, waiting for that decision, I would like to mention one other important event. Then a few days from now, all of you, not we as a candidate, will hold the European elections from 23rd to 26th of May, I think. And this is also a very important event for us as a candidate country and for the whole of Western Balkan countries, waiting to become the full-fledged member of that organization. I wish you a successful elections, of course, and I expect at the end of that process to have a common conclusion. Then the candidate country, the Republic of North Macedonia, contributed to the European cause, and of course, waiting for the successful outcome of the European elections, which will determine the pro-European forces in the European Parliament. And I really do expect then European Europhiles or European parties, European candidates to gain ground and to support even further and even stronger the European cause, which is very important for all pro-reform elites in the Western Balkan region. Believe me, all important achievements in our history as an independent country has been achieved by heavy support by you, by European Union, and of course by the NATO alliance. And relying only on our autonomous forces, we certainly cannot be able to achieve what we have already achieved and what we hope to achieve in the near future. So, waiting for good news from all European capitals in the last 10 days of this month, and waiting to work with all of you. I would like to congratulate all of you Europe's Day, and to have many successful gatherings of this type in the near future, and of course to hear good news in the next month from the European capital, from Brussels, for our European cause. I have no doubt that all of you are going to be really dedicated to support our cause, our main motive to fulfill finally, for so long being in the transitional tunnel, our strategic goal of joining the European Union, of course waiting first for the date for negotiations, and by the end of this year then becoming the full-fledged member of the NATO alliance. As I said, waiting for your support and promising that we are going to be, the whole political elite now being in power in the Republic of North Macedonia, we are going to be in line with the highest European standards. And only one sentence at the end of this, my short addressing this gathering, allow me to say that my main goal as a president in the next 5 years is going to be, of course, to try, along with others, with this government, with any future government, to fulfill this goal of being a member of the European Union and NATO. But in the first place, I would like to be unifier of the nation, which has been so badly divided in the past. And I'm going to work from the very first day being in office with the opposition, with the NGO community, with the media, with the individual experts, with everybody who has in their minds the European cause and the goal to be one day full-fledged member of the European Union and the NATO alliance, and to behave as real Europeans at the end of the day. Thank you once more and enjoy your lunch.
Deputy Prime Minister Bujar Osmani, President-elect Pendarovski, dear colleagues, ministers, dear colleagues, former ministers, dear members of the Parliament, and of course, dear ambassadors of the European Union and of the candidates of the European Union. This is our joint holiday. Thank you first very much to Bujar for organizing the traditional event on the EU Day. You elevated it symbolically and literally to this morning breakfast. We came to celebrate 69 years of an ambitious and remarkable project that defined the European history. After 7 decades of unprecedented success, the European Union today is at the crossroad, as Deputy Prime Minister was mentioning as well. The European Union was created by societies that feared the past. However, nowadays, Europeans seem to fear their future. That's why today, as it was mentioned, the EU heads of governments and states are meeting in Sibiu under the Romanian presidency to exchange views on the challenges and priorities for the European Union for the years to come. Leaders will discuss the future of Europe, which will be the future Europe that we are all going to live in. Europe faces many challenges from within and from outside. We are ahead of parliamentary elections, a new commission will come in place, a new president of the Council will need to be appointed by the end of the year. We face global challenges to trade and to the rule-based international order. Our leaders will discuss strategic agenda for 29 to 2024, which could focus on 5 priority areas. A protective Europe, because peace is power in today's world. A competitive Europe that invests in the technologies of tomorrow and supports our greatest assets, the single market, our industry, and our common currency. A fair Europe that upholds our fundamental principles of equality, the rule of law and human rights, social justice in the modern world. A sustainable Europe that takes the lead on sustainable development in fighting climate change. And an influential Europe that seeks to uphold and update the rule-based system that has served us so well for so long. I believe that the only way forward for Europe and its member states is if we work together and we reaffirm and protect our common values both internally and externally. What our leaders will be searching to re-establish in Sibiu is strength in unity. I see the same need of search for unity here in North Macedonia. After several elections in the past few years, which inevitably divide the country, it is time for politicians and political parties to put their differences apart, be they ideological, ethnical, or personal. It is time to demonstrate unity of purpose and goal, and intensify the work, first to start the accession negotiations, and second, to progress in negotiations fast forward. This is what all parties in the parliament proclaim. This is what your citizens expect you to do. As in the past, we will continue supporting on this path. I'm pleased that today I'm in the country which is a source of stability for the region and beyond. In a country which has made tough and painful decisions and is delivering on reforms. In a country that is bringing good news from the Balkans. Today, I cannot announce opening of negotiations in June, since this is a decision by our member states. But you have a strong and convincing case to show, and the glass is filling up. Thank you again, Bujar, for organizing this event. Congratulations to all of us for Europe Day. Ili na makedonski jazik, neka ni je čestit Denotna Europa. Благодаря.